The distress buoy had been screaming for 6 days before anyone from the Scyther Concord agreed to answer it, and Fleet Warden Telekosun regretted the decision the moment his cruiser dropped into the third planet's orbit. "Confirm the reading," he said. "Confirm it twice." His sensor officer did, and her voice thinned as she spoke. The world below rotated slow and blue-white, wrapped in storms that spun wider than entire Concord provinces. Lightning webbed across the night side in chains that never fully died. The oceans moved with a violence that his instruments struggled to categorize, and the land masses were scarred by fault lines, ash plumes, and rivers that carved through stone, as though the stone had personally offended them. "Gravity well is a trap," the sensor officer said. "Atmosphere is corrosive with free oxygen. Surface temperature swings would kill a Concord crew in an afternoon. Warden, nothing intelligent evolves here. Nothing survives here." Talek had come from a gentle world. The Concord had spread across 100 gentle worlds, each one mild and predictable, each one a garden that had never once tried to kill the things living on it. His people measured a planet's worth by how easily it forgave. By that measure, the blue world below was not a planet at all. It was a wound. His navigator had already logged it under an old survey word the Concord used for places that ate expeditions. "Monster, the buoy," Talek said. "Where is it broadcasting from?" The signal came from a drifting hulk in high orbit, a research vessel of the Maressi people, allies the Concord had lost contact with a full season ago. The Maressi had come here to study the monster world from a safe distance. Something had gone wrong. The hulk was dark, its hull breached, its crew silent. "Boarding party," Talek ordered. "We recover survivors and we leave. This place is not worth a single additional death." They found the Maressi ship gutted by fire and decompression. They found bodies. And in the medical bay, sealed behind an emergency bulkhead the Maressi had welded shut in their final hours, they found something the Concord had not expected to find anywhere near the monster world. They found a human. She was strapped into a medical frame, unconscious, her body threaded with Maressi tubes and stabilizers. A survivor of some earlier disaster the Maressi had pulled from a derelict, Talek guessed, kept alive out of scientific curiosity. Her chart, translated roughly by his medic, listed injuries that should have been fatal 3 times over. Crushed ribs. A collapsed lung. Blood loss the Maressi notes described with something close to disbelief, because she had kept losing it and kept not dying. "Bring her," Talek said. "If she lives, she can tell us what killed this ship." Her name, the Maressi records said, was Corin Vale. She woke in the Concord cruiser's medical bay 4 days later, and the first thing she did was ask about the crew of the ship she had been found on, not her own condition, not where she was. She asked whether the Maressi had made it. Talek's medic told her they had not. Corin Vale closed her eyes, and Talek watched her do something he did not have a word for in his own language. She grieved, and then she set the grief down, deliberately, the way a soldier sets down a weapon that has run empty but might be needed again. When she opened her eyes, they were clear. "You're Concord," she said, reading his uniform. Her voice was rough from the tube they had pulled out of her throat. "Scyther Concord. The Maressi talked about you, said you were the gentle ones." "We are peaceful," Talek said, and heard the correction in his own words too late. "That's not the same thing," Corin said. "He should have quarantined her. He should have logged the recovery and returned to Concord space and let the specialists decide what a human was and why one had survived aboard a ship full of the dead." Instead, he found himself telling her about the monster world, because she kept asking questions, and because there was something in the way she listened that pulled the truth out of him. He told her about the storms, the gravity, the oceans, the oxygen that would rust a Concord ship to powder. He told her his people had a word for worlds like this, and he told her the word. Corin Vale laughed. It was not cruel. It was the laugh of someone recognizing an old friend described by a stranger who did not know them. "Warden," she said. "That's Earth." "You're describing Earth." The bridge went quiet when the boarding party's find was fully understood. A human. Native to the monster world. Talek's officers looked at Corin Vale the way they might look at something that had climbed out of a furnace and asked for a chair. "That's not possible," the sensor officer said. "The atmosphere, the gravity, the predators, the disease. The nothing intelligent survives an environment like that." "We didn't survive it," Corin said. "We argued with it. There's a difference." She told them then, in the plain flat way she had, what her world was. She told them about the ice that had come and gone and come again, about ancestors who had walked out of one dying valley into another, because staying meant death. She told them about a species that had buried its children in floods and plagues and famines, and had kept walking anyway, had kept building anyway, had looked at a planet that killed 9 of every 10 things it made, and had decided, stubbornly, insanely, to stay. "You call it a monster," Corin said. "We called it home. You don't get soft raising kids on a monster. You get us." Talek did not have time to decide what to do with her, because the thing that had killed the Moresi came back. It rose from the monster world's night side without warning, 3 vessels of a design his archives did not hold, hulls black and pitted, weapons already charging. Scavengers. Corin named them the instant she saw the profile on the display. Predators that hunted the edges of dangerous systems, waiting for wounded ships. They had killed the Moresi. They had been feeding on the Hulk. And now, a fresh, undamaged Concorde cruiser had wandered into their hunting ground. The first volley crippled Talek's engines. His crew did what Concorde crews were trained to do. They broadcast surrender protocols. They powered down weapons. They offered cargo, tribute, anything, because the Concorde had spent 100 gentle generations learning that submission cost less than a fight. The scavengers answered by targeting the medical bay, where the wounded had been moved, and Talek understood that these hunters did not accept surrenders. They accepted deaths. "They're going to board," Corin said. She was already out of the medical frame, already moving on legs that should not have held her. "They'll take the ship room by room. Your people are going to keep offering them things, and they're going to keep killing, because a thing that offers is a thing that's already lost." "We are not warriors," Talek said. "No." Corin agreed. "But I am, and you have a ship full of tools, and I come from a world that made me out of tools and spite. Give me your crew. Give me your engineers, your cutters, your welders, your maintenance drones. Give me anyone who can hold a torch and follow an order. I'll give you back your ship." He gave her everything. What followed, Talek would never be able to describe to the Concorde in a way they would believe. Corin Vale moved through his cruiser like the storms of her homeworld, turning a peaceful people's soft tools into edges. She sealed corridors and vented them. She rigged the cutting torches meant for hull repair into weapons that filled boarding tunnels with fire. She used the ship's own structure, its bulkheads and its pressure differentials and its gravity plating, the way her ancestors had used cliffs and floods and winter, letting the environment do the killing while she aimed it. The scavengers boarded expecting prey. They found a woman from a monster planet who had spent her whole life negotiating with things that wanted her dead, and who had learned that the only word such things respected was refusal. They broke on the 3rd deck. Talek watched it happen. The hunters who had killed the Moresi without effort, who had shrugged off a Concorde surrender, hit Corin Vale's defenses and shattered. Their boarding parties did not come back. Their remaining troops stopped advancing, then stopped holding, then broke and ran for their tunnels, hauling their wounded, abandoning weapons in the corridors in their hurry to get off the ship. Through the hull, Talek felt the clang of grapples releasing. On the display, the 3 black vessels pulled away, damaged, diminished, fleeing back toward the monster world's storms as though the storms were safer than the thing they had found aboard his cruiser. They did not regroup. They did not counterattack. They ran, and they kept running, and the hunting ground that had killed the Moresi fell silent, because the hunters had learned it belonged to something worse than them. Corin Vale came back to the bridge, with a Concord welding torch still in her hand, and burns along one arm she had not yet noticed. She set the torch down carefully, the way she set everything down, and looked at the fleeing ships on the display. "They'll tell others," she said. "That's how it works with scavengers. They'll say this system's guarded now." Talek looked at her, this creature from the world his people called a monster, this survivor who had walked out of a ship full of the dead and turned his peaceful crew into something that had made killers run. "Why did you help us?" he asked. "We were going to leave. We are not your people." Corin considered the question. Outside the viewport, her homeworld turned, blue and white and violent, throwing lightning across its own dark face, beautiful and terrible and entirely unafraid. "Because you called it a monster," she said quietly. "And nobody who raised me on that world ever left anybody behind to it. Not once. That's the thing you soft worlds never understand. It's not that the monster made us cruel." She flexed her burned hand, and did not wince. "It made us the ones who come back." The engines, patched by her hands, shuddered back to life beneath their feet.